Driving value from data is about how we use data to make better decisions in our businesses and our lives. And I call it informed intuition. It's about taking the experience that we have from running and operating a business and combining it with data from around our business systems and using that to make better decisions. So an example is using it to understand how operationally we're running a business from day to day, week to week, quarter to quarter for board reporting and looking at our metrics and using them to make decisions on what we need to. And then moving towards more strategic and growing our businesses, how we can use data to do long-term views and analysis of scenarios in the future. So I think it's a key tool in businesses to be able to use that data to make those decisions. And fundamentally, it's been driven by the huge move to digital, and especially over the pandemic, where so many businesses have embraced digital systems now. To get that value from digital, you really need to use and leverage the data that those systems create, and it allows you to make those better decisions. So learning the skill of driving value from data is really important if you're going to lead or influence an initiative. We find that so many organisations, the ability to use data is driven initially by one person in that organisation. So if you're going to be the person to champion and do it, you really need to have a convincing case to take to your fellow managers, your teams, your board. And so for me, that's all about learning the examples of how you drive value from data, learning from maybe others in your industry, but really importantly, others who are not in your industry, because what we find is there's a similar journey that everybody's learning. You know, how do you articulate that value? How do you take your first steps in doing that? And how do you then become successful? And that pattern's all about looking at what's the people that I need to be successful in using that? What's the processes that I need to evolve? And what's the technology I need to involve? Being able to learn about all of that is really important, because you will probably find that you are the person who's the champion. Understanding how to drive value from data gives you that core to be able to take it across the team. So to practically apply this, one example would be if you're looking at where to invest your marketing budget over the next 2 to 3 years, the ability to take the data that you have from your marketing channels, so maybe your website, maybe your social feeds, maybe your CRM, then analyse the data from them over time, and then creating models and levers around experimenting with that data to project where should I make those investments in maybe geographic markets or different marketing channels. So the ability to do experimental analysis on that data is a common use case that we see now, because that helps the business optimise where they're putting their spend, and with a view to creating bigger or better returns from that investment. So again, it's all about using that data to inform our decision making, not to replace the active decision making, but to better inform that decision making to the benefit of running our organisation. There's so many opportunities to learn about data and this skill now. I think the challenge is, how do you cut through all of the resources and find the ones that are really useful to you? So at the Data Lab, we've got a lot of resources on here that are being designed to help our community to be successful very quickly. So 3 I think that are really useful. The first one is that we have our own digital online data community now. We have over 1,000 members since we launched from 37 countries around the world. And the goal of that community is to enable people to join who are starting their data journey or thinking about it, or those already on it, and bring them together to help each other. Over the years, so many people have come to us and said, how do we help other people? And that's the mechanism and the digital mechanism that we're going to use to do that. So access to mentoring, to exclusive content, to learning materials, etc. And we have an exclusive leaders group as well. So if you're becoming a leader and you want to get started, there are people that can help you. And we think that's really important, because it's people with similar lived experience that want to help others. You know, people have been on that journey before, and we want to help them connect and help the next generation come through. The second resource that we've got is the fabulous Data Skills for Work portal, the Skills Gateway. So many resources on there just to start learning about data and understanding where you might want to start playing in that whole area and the opportunities and the connectivity through to other organisations that can help with training, for example. And the third example is we run our own executive education classes as well within the Data Lab. So there's always classes that will help you get started. We do some of those online and some of those in person as well. So a whole host of things from the Data Lab. 3 things I'd like to recommend externally that personally in my career in data that I found and continue to find really useful. The first one is a gentleman called Bill Schmartzo from the West Coast of America. You can find him online as the Dean of Big Data. He's written books such as the Big Data MBA, and it's practical books and workbooks to help you get a structured approach to understanding and using data in your business. Demystifies the whole topic, and certainly recommend that when you're starting. I think another element that we're really conscious of in the Data Lab is using data responsibly. So, data can do all these great things when you use it, but you have to be thinking about, is that the right way to use it for my business, for society? What are the side effects from the decisions that we're making using this data? So I think 2 books that everybody should read that are using technology is Technology is Not Neutral by Stephanie Hare, which just recently came out and is an absolutely amazing book on this subject. And another go-to book that I always talk about, which is a few years old now, is Weapons of Math Destruction by Cathy O'Neill. And it really crystallised in my head because, I'm a data evangelist, I love it, but some of these kind of crass statements about in God we believe, everybody else bring data, etc. It's not as simple as that. Data can be misused and it can have negative effects on minorities in our society and others. And so that for me was a really good primer as a business leader in understanding, we need to think about these areas as we make decisions with data. So that's three external resources as well that I'd recommend.